You know how some stories just get under your skin. This one starts right at the source with Ed and Lorraine Warren. They're not just any couple, they're the famous paranormal investigators. The movie kicks off with them at the infamous Amityville house. They weren't there for a casual visit, they were investigating for the church, trying to make sense of the horror that happened there. Lorraine, she's the sensitive one, the one who can really connect. She was trying to reach out to the spirits, maybe the demon itself, but instead, a child's soul pulled her into the dark, chilling basement. That's where it happened. For the very first time, she saw her, a terrifying demonic nun staring back at her from a mirror. It was a shock, an absolute fright, but that wasn't the worst part. Right after, the vision shifted, and it showed her the moment of Ed's death. Seeing that, she was utterly, devastatingly terrified. It was a warning, a prophecy she couldn't shake. Then, the focus shifts to England, to 4 siblings in a school, with a young girl named Janet being the heart of the story. They come home to their mother, Peggy. Peggy was struggling, a single mom doing her best to raise her 4 kids alone because her husband had abandoned them over matrimonial issues. She was under so much stress, especially since he hadn't sent any child support in 3 months. But you have to admire her. Despite all the tension, she was doing her absolute best to nurture and care for her children. One night, Janet, the mischievous one, starts playing with a spirit board and convinces her older sister, Margaret, to join in. They ask the board questions, including the one you'd expect, will her father return? But they get silence. Later, at about 1004 a.m., when the whole house is asleep, Janet wakes up. She finds herself downstairs in the living room, completely baffled. How did she get there? Then, knock, knock, knock. A hard rap on Margaret's bedroom door. Margaret wakes up and checks. No one. Janet shows up right then, so Margaret just assumes it was her sister and, taking it as normal kid stuff, goes back to sleep. The movie takes us back to the US for a moment. Ed and Lorraine are on a TV show, consulting with a doctor who publicly dismisses them, calling them pretenders. Ed gets furious, and the show just ends right there in a huff. Back in the Hodgson house, you see Janet and her little brother Billy playing with his Crooked Man toy. Billy is trying to talk to it. He can't speak clearly yet. Bless his heart. That night, Billy, the youngest, goes downstairs for water. He notices the 2 swings outside, and one is moving, swaying as if someone is sitting on it. Totally unnerving. Janet is up, talking to someone in a dark corner of her room. Margaret wakes up and is furious. "You have to leave our house. Who are you? And leave Billy alone," she demands. But then Janet's voice changes. It becomes harsh. "You will all die. And Billy too." Margaret manages to calm her down and get her back to sleep. But as soon as she lies down, Janet shouts at her, "Keep away from Billy and leave us alone." Margaret is getting really annoyed, but then a voice, a deep old man's voice, comes from that same corner. "Leave my house alone! Go away from here!" Margaret is absolutely terrified. She flips on the light and there's no one there. Billy, moving back upstairs after his drink, stumbles over a toy. He kicks it gently into his play tent. But as he walks away, he hears a noise from the tent, and as he's about to fall asleep, the toy moves out of his room all by itself. He puts it back in the tent, but it returns to him again. Frightened, he runs to his mother, sobbing, "There's someone in the play tent." Peggy checks. Nothing. But then, Peggy hears a sound, moves downstairs, and is astonished. Janet is sitting on the armchair, claiming she must have been sleepwalking. Her temperature is high. "You're not going to school tomorrow. You're not well," Peggy tells her. The next day, Janet is home alone watching TV. Suddenly, the channels start flipping uncontrollably. She sets it back and puts the remote aside, but the channels start changing again, and now the remote is gone. Her mother calls. While they are talking, Janet looks over and sees the remote control is back on the armchair. She's starting to panic. She grabs the remote, settles down to watch, but now the signal is gone. As she messes with the TV, she notices an old man sitting on the armchair holding a remote. She spins around. No one. The remote clatters to the floor. She is losing it. Then, the old man shouts right in her ear, "It is my house. Go away. Leave it." She's utterly terrified. Meanwhile, Ed is back home making a painting. Lorraine sees it and instantly knows it's the demonic nun. Ed explains it was from a nightmare he had last night. Lorraine is instantly agitated. "We are no longer handling spiritual cases for a while," she announces, her voice tight with fear. That night, Janet ties herself to the bed, trying to stop the sleepwalking. At midnight, someone knocks her off the bed. She goes to the door, opens it, and sees the armchair rocking by itself. She races back. locks the door, and tries to sleep, but the door opens itself. She hears someone walking towards her. Then, something comes close and bites her shoulder. She shrieks, waking Maigret. At that moment, their beds start shaking forcefully. The girls bolt out and run to their mother. Peggy comes to check and sees the spirit board out. She scolds them, but then a cabinet table moves by itself, blocking the door. Now they are all afraid. They flee to their neighbor's house. Peggy tells the neighbors everything, and they call the police. The police come, hear a noise in the walls and see a chair moving, but they conclude it's not for them. Call the church, they advise Peggy. Lorraine is seen with her daughter, and she has another vision. The demonic nun appears, scaring her, and Lorraine is desperately tearing pages out of her Bible with a pen, asking, "Who are you? What do you want?" And the nun shows her the site of Ed's death again. Shaken, Lorraine's daughter snaps her out of the vision. A TV crew member contacts Peggy to interview Janet and Maigret. During the interview, the interviewer is skeptical and asks the demon to contact them if it's real. Then, Janet's voice changes. It becomes the old man's voice. He says his name is Bill Wilkins. He says he lost his sight, then died of a brain hemorrhage on that specific armchair in the corner, and he loves the Hodgson family's agony. Everyone is shocked. The interviewer is now convinced. However, one of their skeptical partners claims Janet is just a fake, a clever actress. We see witnesses giving interviews about the paranormal happenings. That night, Peggy and the kids are sleeping at the neighbor's house. Janet is fully possessed by the Crooked Man. It wants to kill the neighbor's kids. She's totally controlled, and then she loses consciousness and collapses. This reveals a new element. The spirit of the Crooked Man is working alongside the old man. A priest plays the tape recording of Janet's old man voice for Ed and Lorraine. They hear it and believe it's an old man. The priest tells them, "No, that is the voice of an 11-year-old girl." He implores them to come to England and help the family. Lorraine, remembering her terrifying visions, tries to stop Ed. She tells him that the demon he painted is real, that she faced it and it showed her the vision of his death. Ed, ever the compassionate one, gently insists, "A family needs our help. We have to go." Lorraine finally agrees. Ed and Lorraine arrive in England. Peggy takes them to Janet's room, which is covered in crucifixes, stuck everywhere to try and weaken the demon's power. But still, sounds are heard. Peggy shows them that armchair, the one Bill Wilkins died in. Janet, weeping, tells Lorraine she can't sleep at all. Lorraine asks her about the voice. To get proof for the church, Lorraine and Ed sit Janet on the armchair and try to communicate. Janet says the demon won't talk if they look in her eyes, so they all turn around. Ed asks a question, and the spirit replies that it came to meet its family. Ed holds up a cross, and the spirit screams, "Let me go! Save me!" Janet spits up water and returns to normal. Lorraine is still uneasy. "I haven't felt the supernatural being yet," she admits. That night, Janet wakes up to find herself hanging upside down from the ceiling of the downstairs room. The old man demon is sitting on the armchair watching. He pulls her up, and she flies into her room. All the crucifixes on the wall have turned upside down. The old man demon attacks her, and Janet's shriek wakes Peggy, who sees the demon clearly. Ed and Lorraine arrive just in time, break the door, and save her life. The demon hasn't shown itself to them fully, but Lorraine notices one crucifix shaking. They are convinced and set up cameras and recording equipment all over the house to capture the proof. While Ed is helping Peggy fix their washing machine in the basement, he's repairing a water pipe. Peggy sees a moving shadow heading towards Ed and warns him, but he sees nothing. Immediately, the old man demon attacks Peggy, biting her hand. Upstairs, Janet sees another demon in the kitchen, and Billy is actually moving towards it, trying to fight. Janet warns him off, but then she is badly possessed. Everyone rushes in at the sound of the children's screams. Suddenly, domestic objects start flying around violently. The kitchen door slams shut. Ed breaks it down and finds Janet in a cabinet heavily possessed. Later, the skeptical host lady shows everyone a video of Janet throwing things around, claiming it's proof that Janet is faking it. Peggy gets furious at being called a liar and kicks everyone out. Even Ed and Lorraine leave. Only the neighbors stand by her. Janet's siblings confront her, asking why she acted like that. She whispers that the demon made her do it, or her brother Johnny would be killed. Ed and Lorraine are baffled. If Janet was faking, why did she fake it in the room with the cameras? Ed collects the recorded data. They listen to the possession recording and hear two distinct voices. When they play the two recordings together, the message is chillingly clear. "She does not allow me to go." Suddenly, Lorraine has a vision. The old man demon is sitting on the armchair. He tells her he came for his family and is now leaving. She does not permit me to leave, he says, and hints that Janet is also bewitched by this. He gives Lorraine a crucial clue to defeating the real demon. Then, Lorraine looks behind the old man's spirit and sees the demonic nun. Lorraine comes out of the vision, her nose bleeding. They realize there's something much bigger and more sinister at play. They rush back to Peggy's house. The old man's spirit and the crooked man were only pawns, a diversion so no one would find the real demon, Valak, the demonic nun. Back at the house, Janet is completely overtaken by the true demon. It throws Margaret across the room with satanic power. Peggy gets her kids out, but when she turns back for Janet, the door is locked. Ed and Lorraine arrive. Ed tries to break the door, but it's barred. He tries to enter through the window, but a flying sofa slams into it. Ed, determined to save Janet, sneaks in through the back way, the basement. Lorraine follows, but that door slams shut, locking her in the basement. She shouts at Ed that the demon is too powerful for him to face alone, but he goes in anyway. In the basement, Ed is making his way when a water pipe bursts, temporarily blinding him and blurring his vision. Hearing the unsettling sound of music, he follows it. A demon's hand slashes at him on the wall, and the crooked man appears right behind him. Ed makes it to the TV lounge, but he hears Janet's voice, and the demon's voice, coming from the top floor. Ed, taking off his crucifix, pleads with the demon to leave. Meanwhile, Lorraine, stuck in the basement, desperately tries to piece together her memories. She suddenly realizes the demon told her its name. Its power can be broken if you know its name. She remembers writing the demonic nun's name in her Bible. Outside, lightning strikes the tree, and the spoiled tree forms the exact shape Lorraine saw in her vision. Ed reaches the top floor. The crooked man attacks, but Ed avoids him and finds Janet. She is completely bewitched by the demonic nun. The window pane shatters, and Janet tries to jump out towards the sharp, pointed tree below. Ed lunges, catches her hand, but he's pulled out too, and they both start to fall slowly. Lorraine bursts into the room, sees the demonic nun, and is thrown away. She quickly turns to the nun and shouts the name she remembered from her vision. Valak, I cast you back to hell. The demonic nun's power instantly weakens, and it is forced back to hell. Lorraine pulls Ed and Janet back to safety. Everything returns to normal. Janet is herself again. The movie ends with Peggy and Janet thanking Ed and Lorraine, their ordeal finally over.